You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
That's why he's not talking back to me.
Oh, now I'm talking back.
Oh, Jesus. It's been one of those nights, friend. Somehow updated. Of course, when I turn on the computer, it's like, oh, you need to do a security update. I'm like, fuck you, no. Fuck you. I will not be doing a security update right now.
No. Not right.
I've got better stuff to do.
Yeah, like this podcast.
I've got to talk to my friend Edward Green.
Hooray!
Hooray! Jesus saves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh boy, yeah, it's
so happy.
It's been a fun one.
So happy I could slap a donkey.
Yeah,
that's right.
So much fun.
That's right. Excuse me, I've checked my Bleacher Report. I hadn't checked it in about 4 hours.
Oh no!
I see if anything new's happened. It's kind of been a big day for us pool fans.
Yeah. Oof.
Potentially.
Well, I mean,
very potentially.
It's already been a big day.
It has.
Unfortunate.
Oh dear. It's good for me and not so good for you.
Oh, I was talking about Oxlade-Chamberlain.
I just wanted to report. I just wanted to do a Borat.
I was like,
yeah, obviously we'll get to that.
Like, because as of right now, that's the only confirmed news. Well,
yeah, no, that is the only confirmed story. Everything else is like this speculation of holy shit. Everything's about to come together. We may seriously have like maybe on paper the best ever transfer window in Premier League history. And it's like, oh, well, thank you, God. We needed that. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't wait.
Why do you tease me? Why do you tease me, oh Lord?
He's a sensual God.
Oh, I don't want to get cursed right now, so I'm not going to really go any further with that. If I say one more thing, we're signing them both, and we're finishing 7th, so I'm not saying anything else.
Okay. Taking the smart way out.
Totally. Going to church.
It's probably what everybody's going to have to do after they listen to episode of the Foreign Fair podcast. I am Edward Green, joined as always by my call in crime, Wes Bradshaw, and it has been a night of nights here already, and we have so much more to talk about, though, than we've already been talking about in the few minutes we've been on the pod. Of course, World Cup final. I was actually thinking today, I'm like, man, that feels like it was about 3 weeks ago. Like,
seriously,
it's really weird what happens when you have like a game of football nearly every day, and then you go like 4 days without, and you're like, man,
seriously, it's like it's just over. And God, think about if our whole summer had been like this, and we had been like, just pining for like Gold Cup matches or something.
Oh God, I mean, thankfully. We only have one summer every 4 years that's like that, and that's
well, you would think, but now we get 4 straight summers like this.
Wait, what's the
it's
year?
a lot Qatar.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
I thought, wow. Well, no, we'll next year we get at least we get the Women's World Cup, so at least we'll be able to talk about U.S. soccer in a good light. So that's good.
Yeah.
We'll talk. Then the year after that is
Women's
Euros.
World Cup's awesome. We love Women's World Cup because we're always favorites to win.
Yes. Then we have Euros.
Totally.
Then the year after that is the one I'm like, we'll see. that'll be interesting. And then it's a summer of wait until Qatar, because yay Qatar. Oh God, Qatar.
Yeah, I mean, then we had to wait a whole freaking summer.
Yeah,
it's garbage.
It's not going to be fun, but we hope you have fun with us on the pod. So, like we said, we'll talk about the World Cup final. We'll recap everything from Russia. As you know, never mind. We'll also, of course, hit news.
Not everything. We're not talking about what happened on Monday or Tuesday in Russia.
Oh God, no, that's been talked to death.
Different show.
Yeah, that's way. Of course, we also have news and notes, as we alluded to in our pre-show. Plenty of news to talk about that's actually been confirmed. I'm sure Wes will wildly speculate about things, but I'm not.
Oh,
going
Jesus!
to do
Yes, it's my favorite thing to do.
I can't wait till Liverpool confirms Alisson at 3 a.m. this morning. That's going to be great. So we'll have that.
I will know, Ed, because my Bleacher Report will wake me up.
Awesome. We will, of course, also have a watch for. And will we have So Raw today?
No.
Yes. Excellent.
Mostly due to time constraints, because I'm very tired and need to go to bed, so I can get up at 4:30.
Awesome. So we are going to go ahead and get started here.
I will make up So Raw to you guys next week. We'll do some stuff next week.
It'll be fun next week. But we're going to start then. As always, we like to thank NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. They provide the podcast. But you know what has stopped? It is the World Cup. The World Cup of 2018 has come to an end. Great World Cup. Let's be real here for a second. The product on the field was fantastic. It was entertaining. It was scintillating. We had 1-0 draw the entire tournament. That was.
Well, when you say fantastic, we'll say the action on the field was fantastic. I'm not going to say the games were. I'll put it. How do I want to put it? I'm not going to say the play was completely fantastic.
Yeah. NALCS, baby. But we had a great final in terms. Again, this is great in terms of entertainment value. Some just great matches coming up. We're not even going to, I think. Do you want to spend any time on the third place match from Saturday?
It happened. England, just real quick, just to kind of wrap up England.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, this is an English team that some people definitely got caught up in the hype. Not me, by any means.
Of course not.
I wasn't singing or thinking it was coming on. But for real, I mean, this was an England team who they showed a ton of heart, a ton of fire to go and play together. It was fun watching them because, I mean, it was a young team. There were stars on this team, don't get me wrong, but you didn't have these huge mega superstars like you've had in the past.
Oh, sure.
Where, they went to the World Cup and half their plan was, well, I'm going to work on my brand.
Yeah.
We didn't get the daily updates of what the Wags were up to.
Yeah, thank God.
I didn't even hear the Wags in this entire thing. I saw like one picture of like Harry Maguire's girlfriend, and that was it.
Is that the meme one where he's kind of like after the game, like at the front of the stand? Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, so England didn't have that star power, which means that England didn't have the paparazzi back page, trying to tear them down. And also, England went into this tournament without everyone screaming, "We're good! We're going to win it! We're going to win it!" Because we have all these monster Premier League stars. They went in. They played. I thought they played to their strengths. And at the end of the day, you can definitely say they got a favorable draw. But unlike past England teams, Jesus, they beat who they were supposed to.
Yeah, I like how a lot of people like to, when they complain about England, they like to talk about how easy everything was. I didn't realize Colombia all of a sudden was a terrible team.
They weren't playing terrible teams. Yes, they weren't playing Brazil or France, or they played Belgium twice. I saw it happen. But they weren't on that side of the bracket. But you know what? That's because some of the bigger teams came in and shit the bed in this tournament.
Yeah, that
wasn't England's fault. All you can ever say, especially in tournament play, all you can ever do is, hey, you play who's next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trust me, if England had won the World Cup, I don't think anyone in England will be, oh, but we only beat Sweden and Croatia. No, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter who you beat as long as you win. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the whole breadth of tournament play in anything, whether it be, Jesus, Little League Baseball, all the way up to the World Cup. Anywhere in between, you can only play who's in front of you and who's in your bracket. You don't pick the bracket. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I give England a lot of congratulations. That's it. I think we really saw in the Croatia and the Belgium third place match, especially, not a great England team.
Yeah.
A pretty limited England team.
Yeah, that's what I was
overall. They were limited. And that's why I give Southgate credit. I think he got the most out of them that he could. Mm-hmm. Just looking back on, I mean, really, when you start going down the roster, not that great of an England team. Solid players. They do have a world-class striker. But the thing is, Harry Kane didn't get the service here. You know, let's put it this way. You replace a couple guys with Eriksson and maybe Sonny. Mm-hmm. Wow, that England team suddenly got a lot better, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's when I was going back to, especially in the Croatia match. And I felt so bad for Jordan Henderson because that Croatia match, he was just he couldn't do anything. There was someone who like supercut all of his passes in that, or like all of his forward passes in that game, and they were all just like long boots down the field. And it's like he can't do anything, and that's why a lot of people were I saw complaining also about Harry Kane in that game and like how he didn't do anything at the 80-minute mark, or even maybe a little bit before that. He had to start playing about midfield to even get the ball, and that's the problem. And that's when you say Eriksson, that to me was like if England had that. Because they don't have that. Jordan Henderson is not that. He is a very defensive mid, and nobody should expect him to be. Like, let's be real here. Anybody bagging on Henderson?
Well, and truth, just on Henderson, real quick. I think you're going to see a different Henderson at Liverpool this year, because he's going to be somewhat freed up of that defensive mid role. Mm-hmm. But Henderson is more of a direct run. You know, he can run at somebody with the ball, and he can make a pass. Mm-hmm. But he's not a true playmaker. Yeah,
and that's why I remember I was thinking about this in the car, and I was like, what would have been the answer? What does Southgate do in that situation? And the terrible, awful, just no good answer, and this would have to have been gone back into team selection. The awful answer to that question is Jack Wilshere. That's like the only type of player. The better answer is actually Harry Winks. Harry Winks would have been great, but he was hurt most of the year and would have been probably a liability to take on this team. But that's the kind of player you're missing, is a guy who can attack in the midfield, or obviously an Eriksson, or God forbid a Messi-like player. I mean, that's what England lacked, because I thought they were fairly solid in the back. I thought Jordan Pickford was amazing. Kieran Trippier obviously was probably England's best player in this tournament overall. And John Stones and Harry Maguire did not embarrass themselves. John Stones, I think, only mistake this entire tournament was Croatia's winning goal. And that sucks, but Stones was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Overall.
And we still blame Kyle Walker for that anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Kyle Walker was...
you know, I heard a great thing said on English radio of all places, so take it with a grain of salt. What this team lacked was what 12 years ago they had so much of they couldn't get away from it. They lacked a Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes type player.
Yeah, you're right.
Who would have completely, you know, Paul Scholes especially, would have completely unlocked everything, and England would have probably flown and been completely dynamic. Mm-hmm. But and something else I heard said over and over was, you know, you had Dele Alli and you had Jesse Lingard coming out of midfield, and those two are runners.
Yeah,
they're guys who they run, and you get it to them, and suddenly things happen. Mm-hmm. But they needed a passer.
Yeah, there had to be a bridge from Henderson and the rest of the back line to Ali and Sterling and Lingard making those runs.
Yeah. And that's just what they didn't have. And once again, if you have a Steven Gerrard, a Paul Scholes, a Frank Lampard, a David Beckham, somebody like that, who those guys were just known to put passes wherever they wanted to. You get one of those guys in there, the dynamic of this England team changes so much, just what they're able to do.
Sure.
And then you're playing either Lingard or Dele. Mm-hmm. And you can sit there and you can make your matchup choices based on that. And you can substitute knowing, hey, I'm going like for like here. But England they missed that. They had runners. Croatia, when you look at the Croatian midfield especially, buddy, those are passers. I mean, when you look over at Belgium and they've got Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, those are passers, man. And those are guys who put balls wherever they want to on the feet of their men running in on goal. Christian Eriksen's a perfect example. Liverpool passed Philippe Coutinho. That's what Liverpool are trying to find again. With possibly Naby Fekir coming in. That's what Liverpool are looking for. And that was just the one little thing that England seemed to miss.
Yeah. And
once again, all the credit in the world to Gareth Southgate. I think he has fully earned this job for another 4 years if he wants it.
Sure.
And I mean, he's made waistcoats the most popular thing in England again. But I thought he did a magnificent job. And people who got pissed in the semifinal, my question is, what more could they do?
Yeah.
I mean, this is an England team that relied on the set piece. Well, shit, that's where they scored.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? They missed a few other chances they should have had taken.
Yeah.
They missed some shots off set pieces. And, when that's pretty much your only strength, I mean, that's what got them in the end. They missed some set pieces and allowed Croatia to stick around. And
I showed you that. Did you see that GIF I sent you, or the short video of the save on Harry Kane's shot?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes shit just doesn't go your way.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2-0 if that doesn't happen. So
exactly. I mean, that's just how that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And for England, they rode some really good vibrations the whole way. But at the end of the day, Croatia was a better team. Mm-hmm. Belgium was a better team. I was talking to a friend of mine before the semifinals, and he's kind of gotten into the soccer a little bit, kind of keeping up with what I'm saying, and we get talking a little bit. And he said, "Well, he said, going to the semifinals." He said, "So how good is England? How can England win this?" And I said, "Here's how I break them down in talent: France, Belgium, Croatia, England." I said, England's not even really close to fourth.
Yeah.
I'm just explaining to them, like, watch this, and this, and that's exactly what ended up burning them in the next two matches. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll say this. I think Croatia could have looked at that English squad and gone, I'd rather fancy that Harry Kane guy on their team. Yeah. And here's the thing, you put Harry Kane on Croatia, buddy, that's terrifying. Because Mandzukic is a solid center forward, but he's obviously past the prime of his career. And even in his prime, he was never as good as Harry Kane. Mm-hmm. If those Croatian midfielders had a Harry Kane to pick out, holy shit. Yeah. That would have been a hell of a final. Yeah. But, hey, but you're born reborn. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that doesn't matter, like Diego Costa, but you're born, you're born.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We have been proven that doesn't always matter, but still.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, for England, I thought they overachieved. Great run. I hope it's something to build on going forward. My fear with England is that now there's not going to be anything you can do to try to slow down the hype train the next time.
Oh, God.
Because, well, we didn't believe last time, and look what we did now. We're going to believe. Oh, Jesus, here comes the pressure again. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, there was a lot more joy from England fans in this tournament than usual. Yeah. So you know what? Maybe that joy will carry over for a couple years, and we'll see what happens in the Euros.
Yeah, I think Euros is going to be fascinating because especially as we transition then to talking about the France-Croatia final, something they kept hammering home about France was just how young they were. And they are. England are also super young.
Yeah.
I mean, these are two very, very young teams. And I mean, that in 2 years' time, if they get that dynamic midfielder, France-England could be a Euro final. Like, it very well could be. No pressure, boys. But I mean, that's what we could be seeing with those
so many wars fought.
Because I would also say, as we talk about Croatia, right before we start talking about this final, for Croatia, this was maybe kind of their last chance. This was a lot of older guys on this club, or on this team, I should say, and that's kind of their last ride. And unfortunately for them, their last ride could not end in a title. It ends up just short. The final of the World Cup ends France 4, Croatia 2, one of the highest scoring finals we've seen in a while. It started off early, 18th minute. That man you just mentioned, Mario Mandzukic, he headed it into the net. Unfortunately, it was into France's net, so that was an own goal. But don't worry, he'd get sort of redemption later. So that put France up 1-0 early. And that was completely against the run of play and sort of against the run of rules, if you see what Antoine Griezmann did to earn the free kick that led to the header. But Croatia stormed back as they had been doing all match already. And the 28th minute mark, Ivan Perisic put in another big goal for Croatia to level things up at 1-1. But 10 minutes after that, again, the blows just kept coming. France earned a penalty through VAR after a corner. It was adjudged to have gone off a Croatian defender's arm. I believe it was Perisic. I believe it actually went off of Perisic's arm. So they did not call it at first. They took a look at it on the video replay, and it was given as a penalty. Griezmann stood up and took the penalty and made it 2-1 to France going to the half. And then France stormed out in the second half as the rains came down and took a commanding lead. Paul Pogba finished off a great run of play from France that he actually started from midfield he got his own deflection and put it in from about the 18-yard line in at the 59th minute to make it 3-1 France. And then Kylian Mbappe, the young player of the tournament, put another one in just 6 minutes later off the end of a great run from him. It was 4-1 France. Basically game over. Hugo Lloris definitely did not do something stupid to give Mandzukic a goal to make it 4-2. That didn't happen.
Hugo Lloris carries.
You can't prove it, damn it. But that is how the match ended. France comes out victorious. They win 4-2. They win their second title as a country. And Wes, I think this match sort of typified something you said earlier. This World Cup was dramatic. It was entertaining. It wasn't always that good. We didn't always see the highest of caliber play here.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, I do think the better team won. I think Croatia felt a little hard done by some of the decisions. The initial goal from the set piece that Griezmann, quote, earned, unquote. I think they have an issue there. I don't think they have an issue with the penalty. I think that's a penalty every day of the week. I know some people on Twitter didn't feel so, but I thought it was a pretty clear penalty. And then when they had to try to come back in the game, Pogba and Mbappe burned them really bad. So I think the better team won here. But it was, again, a very entertaining match, even if it was a little sloppy at times.
Couple things to touch on. Talking about the window for this Croatia team.
Sure.
Modric 32, Perisic 29, Lovren, Vida both 29. The keeper, the Sabasovic, whatever the hell his name is, Subasic, he's 33. Rakitic is 30. Mandzukic is in his 30s.
He's 32, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so Ante Rebic is a young one. Ante Rebic is only 24.
But Strinic is 31. Vida is 29. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, this was their shot. They know it. This was kind of I guess they didn't get labeled with the horrible name, but this was kind of their golden generation.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know what? They did. I think they maxed out their efforts because you know what? When you come into it, France is a more talented team.
Mm-hmm.
They got more depth. They got more talent. They just are. They got the better pedigree. They just were at the end of the day. Greetsman, that was the most French thing ever from Greetsman. I just have to leave it at that. He's so French.
I think we
even
call
though
that Neymar now, don't we?
Yes, it's so French. It's Brazilian. You know, and I kind of like Greetsman, but I thought that was shitty. But you know, that's just the way it is now. I did not think it was a penalty.
Really?
But that's me. Again, I think you could somewhat see 50-50 on that.
Well, let me. I would be open to being convinced. Why did you think it was not a penalty?
I didn't think he was making a motion to go toward the.
Fair. Okay.
That's me. Whatever. And then going forward, here's the scary thing is when you give them a lead.
Mm-hmm.
When you give France a lead and it's the second half and suddenly you have to try to come out.
Yeah.
France might be the best counterattacking team in the world.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
I mean, when you've got a few guys, when you've got Pogba, who, God, as much as we despise Pogba, when Pogba decides he's ready to play, and doesn't try to just be the star of every moment, Pogba is a pass master, and that's exactly what he did. He put him out there. He got him going. He got himself in a good position. Scored a goal.
Real quick on that, I texted you. I think right after he scored. I was like 3 minutes away from texting you. Pogba has been terrible in this final, and he had been. He had been getting muscled off the ball. He had been sloppy in possession. He'd been really terrible. And then in the lead up to that goal, he makes an inch-perfect pass from about 35 yards out to Mbappe in the rain, and then gets upfield to score the goal. It's bizarre.
And that's the thing that's so frustrating if you're a Pogba fan or a United fan is – shit, we see it. Why can you not do this for us? Or even why can you not just consistently play hard?
Yeah.
And not try to be a gigantic prima donna? But you got that. Then Mbappe got one late. This whole tournament was the coming out party for Mbappe on the world stage. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously, us, the people who follow the European game, we knew about Mbappe.
Of course.
I mean, you know, the guy costs nearly 200 million pounds. Obviously, everyone knows Mbappe. But now on the world stage, it's like, shit, he's 19. I mean, this guy legitimately may have another 3 to 4 World Cups in him.
Yeah.
I mean, you think the next one he's going to be 23. After that, he's going to be 27. After that, he's going to be 31. Still younger than Messi.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, Kylian Mbappe is at a point where it's like, you know, we're turning over the older superstars, the Ronaldos and the Messis. Mm-hmm. They're into their early and mid-30s. They're getting up there, still playing at an extremely high level, but they're kind of taking that step back. Neymar, everyone is waiting for Neymar to take that next small step to become just this massive, unstoppable player. Yeah. Neymar is his own worst enemy because, I mean, we saw it in this tournament. Stop flopping like a damn fish.
It's terrible.
I mean, you know, you're a great player. You don't have to hit the ground every time you're touched. Mm-hmm. I mean, that gets people, you know, I mean, you look at, as much as we give Ronaldo shit, Ronaldo doesn't flop every time you touch him.
No.
Messi doesn't flop every time you touch him. They know when they need to go down. We'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. Neymar can't figure out when he needs to go down.
Yeah.
And, you know, Neymar's getting up into that, you know, upper 20s. It's time right now for him to make that step if he's going to be considered in that argument as the best player in the world. Mm-hmm. It's time for him to do that. Well, Mbappe, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because if you take away Messi from his time at Barcelona, Neymar hasn't won anything yet on his own. He got hurt in the 2014 World Cup.
Well, I mean, he won Ligue 1 this year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he won Ligue 1. He hasn't won a major international competition. He has not won. He did not win the Champions League this year after staking out on his own at PSG, and he has not won a World Cup now in 2 tries. And I guess what the Brazilian tournament, not the Brazilian, the South American tournament.
The Copa?
Yeah, Copa America. He has not won that, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So.
No, they hadn't. And it's just, it's one of those things with Neymar. He has all the talent in the world. He's as good as anyone in the world, technically, physically, as a footballer. But I think Neymar's mentality is holding him back at this point. Mm-hmm. Where Messi and Ronaldo, those two are so mentally tough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't win everything. I mean, Jesus, we've seen neither one of them are ever going to have a World Cup, it looks like. But those two just have a mentality of, I'm going to go out here and yes, I'm going to put on a show, but I'm going to do everything I need in the world for my team to win. Neymar kind of has this mentality of, I'm going to go out and put on a show, and as long as things are okay, I'm going to make sure we win.
Well, and I take it back to something you said kind of towards the start of the tournament after they'd played a game or two. And mm-hmm. you really could see this, because I don't think we actually got a chance to talk after their loss to Belgium.
I don't think we did.
You could see in that game, and again, something you said, and once you said it, I started really looking out for it this World Cup, is sometimes how slow the offense grinds down when Neymar's on the ball. Mm-hmm. And that's, it happened so many times for the first, I would say, 60 to 70 minutes of that Belgium game. After about that 60 to 70 minute mark, when they're like, oh shit, we really need goals now, we're down 2-0, that's when things kind of started to pick up and he started playing a little mm-hmm. faster. But yeah, like in the first 60, 70 minutes, it was, he stays on the ball and he mm-hmm. doesn't really do anything, and a lot of times he'd get dispossessed, and you're like, you're the most talented player on the field. Actually do something, and he's not.
Well, he wants to do. The thing is, there's also, and we've seen this from Ronaldo, there's a time and a place for everything.
You got to play Jogo Bonito, Wes.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing, I mean, and I keep bringing up Cristiano Ronaldo, mm-hmm. and Ronaldo is obviously famous for the flicks, for the tricks, for, showing up other people and doing all the cool, crazy things. But you know what? In the Champions League final, Ronaldo's not doing the flicks and the tricks. Ronaldo's getting into goal and scoring however he can. When it's a big moment and a big time, that's not the time to have to be the guy on the ball who, does 20 dribbles, flips the ball over your head, nutmegs the next guy, and scores the goal.
Well, and now I was just joking there, but is there something to that? Is there... And I don't want to... Is there a Brazilian need? Because we saw this also a lot, too, from a guy that preceded Neymar in Ronaldinho. And we saw this a lot from him, especially when he played for the national team. And is there this overwhelming need for the Brazilian stars to play this supposedly beautiful... God, I had a stroke there for a second. Beautiful version of the game, and the inability to just be a little more English and be a little more direct.
Well, and see, that's this mentality that Brazil has. They've got to now figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not 1970 anymore. Mm-hmm. It's not that you're just so overwhelmingly more talented than everyone and that you play such better football than everyone. You're not the only one who can do it anymore. The game has caught up to that. Mm-hmm. The game is so much faster now. Now think about this too. And, everybody, obviously, you bring up Pele, you bring up Socrates, you bring up, I believe, Rovino, all these great magical Brazilians which they were. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being sarcastic at all when I say that. Those guys were magic. Mm-hmm. When they were playing the game, it was a slower game. Mm-hmm. You didn't have guys up in your jockstrap for 90 minutes. Guys were sitting off of you because they were scared that you were going to pass or run by them, and that gave Pele time to move the ball and do the crazy flicks and the tricks. It gave Socrates time to, play the beautiful passes and, do what they wanted to do. It has changed even since Ronaldinho mm-hmm. and that group. the game has changed. You can thank Germany. You can thank Guardiola. You can thank Klopp. Those are the guys who, it has changed across the board. Not just a few teams in the league here or there. Now, yes, some can do it obviously much better than others. But, now guys are more drilled into them that, hey, I've got to press. I can't just sit back and watch.
Right.
And be mystified by, oh, my God, I can't believe what tricks this guy can do. And I think at club level, you see it a little better from Neymar. But it's almost like when he pulls on that yellow shirt, it's like it switches from I'm Neymar, one of the best players in the world, to, oh, now I'm Neymar, one of the best players in the world, and I'm a showman. And I've got to do that Brazilian thing. I mean, let's put it this way. I think if you had told the Brazilian fans there would have been less tricks, flicks, and they would have gotten to the final, I think they would have said, hey, Neymar, stop flicking the fucking ball and go score. So I think culture has changed. I think just the way it is has changed. Yes, there's romance to this whole Jogo Bonito, the beautiful game. We play it better than anyone. I think the romance is kind of going away from that because now you're getting into a generation. Well, truly, I mean, think about it. You're getting into a generation of Brazilian fans that, I mean, by the time the next World Cup rolls around, it's 20 years since they've won the World Cup.
Yeah.
They didn't grow up on samba on grass. They've grown up on shit. We've got all these stars and we ain't winning shit. Where's the trophies? Hey, we want to win something. I want to be, like my dad and talk about the great, when he talks about Ronaldo and those guys. And I want to be like my granddad when he talks about Pele. Where's my great team? Where's my best team in the world? And I thought, I mean, hey, Brazil was my pick to win this because I saw they got the best team there.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
I'm still not convinced I was wrong on that at all. It's just, I think they tried to get too cute for their own good. And I mean, Belgium's very good, don't get me wrong. They should have beaten Belgium. And I just thought they got too cute and they got too lax. And, the thing is with Neymar that you've got this is your generational player in Brazil. And we know that. You've got some really, really good players. I mean, Jesus, Coutinho, Casemiro, Marcelo, you've got some really top players. But every team kind of needs that one guy who takes them to the next level. For France, it might have been Mbappe.
Yeah.
That just little bit of extra that this one guy has. And unfortunately for Neymar, I don't think he's figured out how to channel that yet. And unfortunately for him, he's getting a little late in the career. I mean, he might have one real shot left in 4.5 years. So, anyway, since somehow we got talking about Brazil.
Yeah, France, Croatia.
Yeah, France, fuckers. France. I mean, France, there are a lot of people pissed off with France in this tournament. I wasn't pissed with France. I think it's like somebody said, one person, oh, their tactics, oh, they were so negative, And it's like, oh, so you're talking shit about the guy who came up with the tactics that won the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's called tactics for a reason. It's a way you play. Deschamps was always a conservative manager. They played a conservative counter-attacking style.
We say they played conservative, and they did. They scored 4 goals in their first match. They scored 2 goals in their second. I believe they scored 2 goals in their third, and then they scored 4 goals in the final. So,
but that's it. I mean, when we say conservative, a lot of those came on the counter.
Sure, yes.
I mean, that's the thing. They were coming on the counter because, France would make a play, and then they got the guys to make the passes, and then you've got an Mbappe and Griezmann streaking down the field. And then Olivier Giroud, riding on his little donkey trying to catch up somewhere. But, France just, they played so well. And we said early, and you know what, we're guilty. We didn't predict France to go far. We thought France would implode from the inside because that was that looked like just about the only thing that could have stopped France was their own implosion.
Well, and even like,
and somehow they held it off.
When we went into the knockout stage, we have to remember they were coming off a drab 0-0 draw with Denmark to end the group stage, and they were about to play an Argentina team that were like, well, they've been really bad. They lucked out to even get this point, but they also have Lionel Messi, so who knows, you know?
Yeah, and Messi's kind of that, you know, great equalizer of all things. But, I mean, this French team, I mean, from the front to the back, I mean, when you think about it, he probably, if you took the French roster and did a best 11 at every position, that's not what Deschamps played.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing Ben Pavard on the outside. Ben Pavard, center back for Stuttgart. And you've got him playing over Benjamin Mendy, who's like the most expensive fullback of all time. You know, and I mean, I will give Deschamps credit for that. Deschamps and French teams have kind of fallen on this in the past where, hey, this is the most English of all things, where you have to fit in your superstars. And Deschamps said, I don't have to. He's like, this is my team. This is my group. You know, I'm going to play what I think is the best thing. And I think it was Hernandez who was the other fullback. Their two fullbacks were fantastic in this tournament. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'd never heard of either of them. I didn't think either of them would be starting. They did. Great center pairing in Titi and Raphael Varane, who, by the way, at age 24, I think, has now won like everything.
Yes.
It's like, oh my
he's
God.
Done. He has nothing left.
You guys won like 4 Champions Leagues and the World Cup, and he's like 24. He's won La Liga. He's won
He just has to win. He has to win Euro 2020, and he's done.
Yeah, I mean, really, if he wins Euros, the guy's like, he's got it all. He's going to be like in his mid-20s, and I think he's the one waiting for the mantle for best center back in the world. I mean, he's fantastic. I just pray Josie never gets his hands back on him. But I mean, this France team from front to back, man, they were fantastic. Yeah. They were deserved winners of this tournament. They did what we said would stop them, or they didn't do what we said would stop them, and that was implode from the inside. They didn't do it. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, they did what Germany could not.
Yeah. And as far, I'm not going to totally tear Pogba a new one here. I've just seen so many things. Pogba was so amazing this tournament. This is the Pogba Man United's been waiting for. The leader, Paul Pogba. I'm sitting here like, you know, don't get me wrong. Pogba had some amazing moments in this tournament. I never thought Pogba played a complete great match.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was anywhere close to what Luka Modric was in this tournament. And I'm seeing him on like these World Cup all 11 teams. I'm like, I just don't get it. I mean, he was just like he was at United. He showed flashes of absolute brilliance. He showed flashes he could be the best player in the world. And then he disappeared for 30 minutes. Yeah. You know, I do think a big thing was Deschamps was like, oh, you know what? You're an attacking midfielder. Crazy idea. I'm going to play you as an attacking midfielder.
What? No.
And Josie says, what is he doing playing as attacking midfielder? You just wait. I will have you on the pivots very soon. Scoring is not needed from you. We need you in double pivot with Matic. Oh, but anyway, I mean, congratulations to France. I fucking hate the French.
I know you do.
but I mean, as I said, very, very deserving winners. Yes. Very deserved winners.
They were.
And also, I will say this.
Good.
I'm glad it was them over Belgium, because this world would not continue to thrive, I think, if Merrill and Fellaini had a World Cup winner's medal. There's just some things that this can't happen.
No, he's got a third place medal, but not a gold.
That's fine. He can have a third place. He cannot have a World Cup winner's medal. I mean, even, you know, it would have been weird to see the words Dejan Lovren World Cup winner.
Yeah.
But my God, you put Fellaini up there? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh. Yeah, speaking of, that was, I think, the weirdest part. I saw this on Twitter. The weirdest part about France beating Croatia like they did, they was scoring 4 goals against one of the world's best center backs in Dejan Lovren. I'm shocked. I don't understand. I don't understand how that could have happened.
That said, as we well know, one center back doth not make a defense, my friend.
To be fair, Vita was actually better. I think Vita was a better center back this tournament.
I think Vita gets a lot of props because Vita's a character. Now don't get me wrong, he had a great tournament. And Vita had some really good moments. He scored the big header. Mm-hmm. He pulled his shirt off, and he's got the ponytail, and he sang the Ukraine song and pissed all the Russians off.
He's a very interesting.
Vita is fun. Vita's a big character. But, man, throughout this tournament, I mean, Lovren really marshaled that back. I can't hate on Lovren at all. I thought he had a magnificent tournament. He's been when you see the World Cup 11s coming out, Vita's nowhere near it. Lovren's on most of them. With good measure.
I will say this, and on a more serious note, what I heard is this is what happens when you put Lovren, though, with a quality center back. It's like this is what he kind of has to have. We've seen him without one, and we've seen him with one, and the difference is very much night and day.
And also what you saw was something you saw Liverpool get to near the end of last season more. Mm-hmm. And Croatia did it. They had that defensive mid sitting in front.
Mm-hmm, yes.
That helps so much. Mm-hmm. When Liverpool were running Emre Can out there, man, it didn't work. So many things didn't work. The fact that Liverpool now have Virgil van Dijk to pair with Lovren, mm-hmm. I mean, we saw a massive improvement in Lovren after Van Dijk came in last year. Mm-hmm. And also when Henderson kind of took over marshaling that midfield. Mm-hmm. And now you've got the chance of it being Fabinho and having an amazing goalkeeper back there. I'm going to tell you, man, Lovren's predictions could come to fruition.
Okay. Oh.
I'm on the Dejan train, baby.
That's never ended poorly.
Seriously.
So that is the World Cup. We bid adieu, appropriately enough, to Russia. Please, no more talk of Russia, ever again for anything.
Real quick. We do kind of have to give props to Russia for this tournament.
Yeah, nothing bad happened as far as
nothing bad happened. The hooligans. I read an article. Apparently, the hooligans have been fighting in forests. Apparently, they plan up and they meet in the forest to fight, so they don't do it in front of anyone now. Because Putin, Uncle Vlad gave them explicit instructions that, this will not end well for you if you do this on a world stage.
Oh my God.
So, but I've not heard, as opposed to maybe the Olympics in Sochi when that happened, mm-hmm. where everyone was just reporting what a disaster that place was. Mm-hmm. I mean, reporters, the analysts, the pundits, everyone's like, man, I mean, it was Russia. It was a great trip.
Yeah.
The people were super nice. Some of them were like, the food was, it's Russian food. But, they said the facilities were nice. The stadiums were in really good shape. There weren't, the unruliness of the fans was not an issue at all. Mm-hmm. So I think that combined with the fact that this might have been the most exciting World Cup of our physical lives, mm-hmm. I think we got to give Russia an A on this.
Yeah, I would give them an A. I would give Fox a C. So.
Yeah. When I'm praising Alexei Lalas, that cannot be good for anyone.
Yeah, that was Goose Hiddink should never be allowed on television again. He was
at least English television.
Oh, he was dreadful. For a World Cup final pregame, he was abysmal.
Seriously. So I can't really figure out why Goose Hiddink is here. What is his connection other than he coached in Russia once?
Who knows? I will say, as much as I bag on Fox, and they were pretty mediocre at best this World Cup, I did actually think, and they got a lot of other props. I saw a lot of other people give this crew props. Derek Ray and Ali Wagner, that team was really good.
they were good.
I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I knew Derek Ray was good. We've heard him do Premier League games. He's a solid guy. I was not super impressed by Ali Wagner. I believe when we heard her in the Women's World Cup in 2015, didn't really think she was that good. Although I believe actually she was a desk analyst instead of a color person. So I thought she was much better here in Russia. So I thought that was like as good as I mean John Strong was good with Stu Holden. They were fine. I thought Derek Ray and Ali Wagner were really, really good.
Stu Holden just has a few things that he does that annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, like the fact that it doesn't sound like he's actually been through puberty yet. But he does a few things. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really have an issue with any of their broadcasting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, their studio show, and I mean, God, we love Rob Stone.
Yeah.
We are stoners. We are stoners.
I believe, and it goes along with a little bit of what I've read, but I believe there was a directive from higher up to dumb down, I will say, the coverage and the analysis.
I agree with that. I agree, and you think about it when, and of course, right now we compare everything to Lady Rebecca and the Robbies.
Well, also,
as much
as we don't like the four-letter word, what does ESPN do? Fantastic. They did a great job with the World Cup.
They did. And when ESPN can't throw their American politics into something, ESPN does some pretty good shit. But we are so spoiled, I think, from our Saturday and Sunday morning Premier League shows.
Yeah.
That, I mean, even when we watch the Champions League, it's like, oh, God, I got to listen to these guys today. Mm-hmm. And now you get a month of them, and it's just, when we watch the Premier League on Saturday morning, they're talking to us as fans who understand our teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, this was the World Cup. My mom watched a lot of this. Mm-hmm. My mom could give a shit about soccer.
Yeah.
But she was like, oh, it's the World Cup? Well, I'll watch some of it. Hey, what just happened there? Yes, I knew when my mom was watching because I would start getting text after text. Now, why did he just get knocked down and they didn't blow the whistle? Like, never mind.
Because his name is Neymar, and that's what happens.
Yes, because his name is Neymar, and they're sick of it. But I mean, my mom was watching the World Cup. She's not a soccer fan. Sure. If you had given her in-depth analysis, she would have been zombified on it.
Yeah.
I think that's just what the World Cup brings, is it brings so many casual viewers who are just kind of there for the party. Mm-hmm. And I think Fox kind of had that directive that, okay, look, you can't do... I mean, even from their Champions League coverage, which isn't the greatest.
Well, and that's
but even from that, it was dumbed down.
Well, yeah, and that's why I think like they already didn't seem to be. And anytime I watch it, they would do highlights, and I saw it happen year after year in the Champions League. They would go through a highlight. Rob Stone would set it up. 45th minute, great pass here from Eriksson sets it up. And then Lawless will say 5 words like, well, great pass, heads it in.
Yeah.
Tottenham gets a goal. It's like, but you're not breaking down anything. Like, and that's why, like, I get it. I get that there's a different audience for the World Cup, although I would still say 4 years ago when ESPN did it, they were able to bring analysis even with, without dumbing it down too much. Yeah, I think even already in their Champions League coverage, which, by the way, they won't have next year. But I think Fox just does they treat every fan as if it's baby's first soccer game, and I think they can kick it up a notch. And yes, they will lose a small percentage, but I don't know. I think they need to do a better job of balancing it, I think, is what has to happen, because their current level of analysis just doesn't cut it, I think, in any way.
I agree.
So
I concur.
So there you go. That's World Cup 2018. All done now. 3 weeks till the Premier League. So
and 4.5 years to the next one.
God, fuck you, guitar.
Fuck you, Qatar. And don't worry, folks. We're going to have to just figure out how the hell we're going. But luckily, they got 4 years to figure this shit out. So.
Can't wait. Or can I? All right, so with that, we're going to hit the news and notes here. We're going to start with a two-parter here from Stamford Bridge. And I'm actually going to start with this story first, though. And I love it because this is from ChelseaFC.com. If it'll actually pull up here, it may not. My laptop is actually broken. I like this. Jorginho becomes a blue. And if I do it, I bring it up here. It says, with statement from Antonio Conte. So that gives you a little bit of the timing there. That's great. Jorginho did take a picture with his new manager, but Jorginho is moving from Napoli to Chelsea, one of their big transfers. He's coming over with his manager, Maurizio Sarri. Not finally. Like the worst kept secret that he was going to be Chelsea's new manager. He's finally introduced. But like, this whole thing was just really bizarre. Like, Conte had actually started preseason training with Chelsea. Like, he hadn't actually been let go yet. Like, they got some practices in, and then he was finally let go. And I believe somebody said Antonio Conte had more wins at Chelsea in his 2 years than were words in the club's official statement about his firing. And we can read that here. This is the entire statement. During Antonio's time at the club, we won our 6th league title and 8th FA Cup. In the title-winning season, the club set a then-record 30 wins in a 38-game Premier League season, as well as a club record 13 consecutive league victories. We wish Antonio every success in his future career. That's it. That's Mourinho, the second time, with a mutiny in the locker room, got more than that. Like, it's bizarre. It's just so weird. And so that's what's going on at Chelsea right now. So again, Jorginho coming in from Napoli along with his manager Maurizio Sarri. Conte is out. And Wes, this was something like mid-May when the Premier League season was wrapping up, we kind of all expected to happen. And it's now happening 2 months later with preseason training underway.
Now the Jorginho signing, that's surprising.
Yeah.
I think everyone and their brother had decided, oh, well, he's going to City. Why wouldn't he go to City? I'll throw something else in there in just a second.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting summer for City.
Yeah.
But, Jorginho, he's a good player. Sarri coming in, you can definitely see the direction, I guess, that Chelsea want to go. But I'm going to tell you, yes, Jorginho, good player coming in. I still don't know about Chelsea right now, though. I'm not really sold on Chelsea.
Well, and we don't know what they're actually going to still maybe end up losing.
True. But we also don't know. Well, there's a very good big rumor going on out there of who they're not going to have.
Yeah.
And losing Eden Hazard would be, I just don't know how that would help anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they lose Courtois, it doesn't look like they're going to get Alisson. So then you're replacing Courtois with someone who's probably not as good as Courtois.
Better check.
Possibly better check.
Yes.
Oh my God. How disasterful would that be? So, this is a Chelsea squad that it's still in flux. They finally got this managerial thing taken care of, which I still can't understand how it went on this long.
Nobody knows.
But, Sarri coming in, he's going to have a chance to try to build this team. But then the other thing that comes in to hurt him, A, he's coming in late. B, they're closing the window early.
Mm-hmm.
He should be sitting here looking at 6 weeks to build a team. He's got 3.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't have Champions League football to offer. His best player wants out. His goalkeeper wants out. His other best player, if we're saying Willian, wants out. Yes, he's brought in Jorginho. That's a good start, but if Chelsea are going to make moves, and I don't feel Chelsea's just going to sell and be like, oh shit, now what do we do?
Right.
It's kind of like with the whole goalkeeper thing. They've said they're willing to sell Courtois, but they've got to have the replacement already lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be Czech, whether it be Kasper Schmeichel from Leicester,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be someone else. I just think it was just the absolute worst summer for all this to go down for Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, short transfer window and a World Cup, and you don't get the manager in until after July. Where you've got, Arsenal got Unai Emery in pretty quickly, Klopp, Poch, Guardiola, and Mourinho. I mean, those guys, well, Mourinho's moaning about his own shit, but, they're established. They know what their teams are pretty much. Obviously, trying to add a few pieces, maybe move some, but they know who their personnel and who their team are. And I think Sarri's in a really tough spot right now. Maybe just for this season, but he's in a tough place.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Chelsea already finishing fifth, so they're going to be in the Europa League next year. That's already a little different than what Chelsea fans have grown accustomed to. And when you look at the four teams above them, and even, dare I say, with some of the moves Arsenal's been making.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with Arsenal, Unai Emery, Emery got in early enough. He's been able to do his business.
Mm-hmm. So
he's gotten into guys over the last month. He's been getting in guys where Sarri's up to the manager of Napoli.
And that's the kind of worrying thing is like, how does Chelsea move up in the pecking order? It's very unclear now how that happens.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. And Abramovich has all this shit going on with the British government.
Yeah.
What's he going to invest? I mean, yes, Liverpool have gotten a lot of stick over the years that, well, they only spend money when they've got money. Oh, the only reason they're spending money is because they got Coutinho money. I almost wonder if Chelsea went and paid big for Jorginho, knowing they're going to be moving Hazard.
I mean, Hazard, apparently, he said he already knows where he's going. So, I feel like when he makes that statement, I feel like that means you're not coming back to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, he is playing every card of a guy who's desperately trying to get out of town. Mm-hmm. The only card he hasn't played yet is I'm putting in a transfer request.
Yeah. And
he hasn't gone full dickhead yet.
The one good thing, the best thing that might have happened for Hazard is Ronaldo moving to Juventus.
Oh, big time. That opens that up.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and Neymar staying in PSG.
Yeah.
Because now Hazard I think Hazard was always kind of that next guy from Neymar. Mm-hmm. Hey, okay, this is where we go next. Mm-hmm. And trust me, Madrid are still out there to make moves. Because like you don't lose Ronaldo and then be like, oh, well, yeah, we'll sign a guy or two. No, I think they're still in the market for a world-class center forward, whether it be Lewandowski, whether it be Harry Kane, whether I'm just saying that because everybody else is saying that about me. I think you just kind of have to throw Harry Kane's name out there at this point when it comes to Madrid. And they're definitely going to be looking for a wing player. Mm-hmm. And Hazard is a big name. He just had a great World Cup. He will sell shirts. So, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But as we've said, and we'll keep hammering it home the next few weeks, there's not that much time left for the English teams in the transfer market. Now, that said, even though the English transfer market closes on August the 9th, they can still sell players all the way to the end of the market as long as I'm not in England.
Yes.
So technically a Hazard or a Courtois, they've got a chance to try to keep them through the end of August and try to make something happen there before, they don't have to have that one sorted out in 3 weeks. It would be nice, because you'd like to know who your team is at the start of the season. But they do have a little extra time when it comes to selling those guys. Absolutely. But the problem is then if you sell them, it's not like you can bring anybody in with the money until January. So yeah. It's a rough spot to be in. We were in favor of the closing the window before the start of the season, Absolutely. Which I still am. Yeah. Ideally, everyone would be on board with this.
Well, and also, this was a hell of a year to actually start doing that with a short.
Exactly. Oh man, I wonder if it even really crossed their minds when they were going through. You figure it would, because you figure they go over every scenario.
Yeah.
But suddenly you're taking a month out of the transfer window, where it's like, hey, yeah, we're at the World Cup, so we're not going to be doing any business. My player don't want to be distracted. And then the English coach they go, oh, shit, it was a World Cup year. Fuck. But, if you could get that globally where, if everyone could agree on an end date that was kind of coincided with the beginning of major seasons, that would make life easier.
I agree.
But the English clubs have kind of done it to themselves.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, hey, this is our idea. We'll be the guinea pigs. Okay, we'll do it. But it's just put a ton of pressure on teams here in the last 3 weeks.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a race to the finish line to get those transfers in before the start of the season. Because it's August 10th. Friday, August 10th, we get started again. It's going to be here very, very quickly for some teams.
They've already changed all of Liverpool's first month dates, so that was nice.
So we're going to talk about Liverpool. The one thing we can actually confirm, this is the only signing we can right now confirm.
I keep seriously updating Bleacher Report, just waiting to get something so I can break it.
Xherdan Shaqiri is coming over from recently relegated Stoke. No more rainy Wednesdays at Stoke. He's going to be playing now at Anfield.
Lucky guy.
Saturdays. Oh yeah. I've always been very intrigued by Shaqiri. He seems like one of those guys you don't notice for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you look at highlights from Stoke and he hits the goal of the season. He has that capability to have these moments. He had a great goal at the World Cup. And for the second straight World Cup running, he's had one of the best goals of the World Cup. So we know this guy is a phenomenal talent. It's still a wonder how he made it to Stoke. But Wes, now that he's at Liverpool, what's going to change? What are we going to see change from Shaqiri now that he's going to be on an even bigger stage?
Well, as you know, as I dropped to you, and you thought I was being sarcastic when I said it.
Yeah.
But I was really serious. I have wanted Xherdan Shaqiri at Liverpool for 5 I mean, this dates back to actually when he played for Basel. I happened to see him his last year at Basel in the Champions League. I watched a couple of their matches, and I was like, my God, this guy's dynamite. And then he was getting connected with everybody. He was connected with Liverpool back then, decided to go to Bayern Munich. Am I blaming him for that? Absolutely not. He went to Munich and it never really kicked on for him. And I think a lot of people gave him shit for that. But you know what? When you look at Bayern Munich, there have been a lot of guys who were ready to take that next step that go to Munich and don't take it. I mean, look at Mario Götze. There are plenty of players who have gone to a Bayern Munich or have gone to a Real Madrid who, oh man, they're the hot young player. Oh, no, it doesn't work. And part of that, I thought at that time even was, at that point, Xherdan Shaqiri was 20, 21 years old. And I'm thinking, man, he's a good player, but he's not going in there and beating out Ribéry or Robin at this point.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. Another thing is, when he got in, he was fine. It helped that you were playing for Bayern. But he was fine. Then he kind of agitated for a move. He got a loan out to Inter. Went to Inter for a January to May. And unfortunately for him, I think he just got there at the absolute wrong time. That was when Inter was having all of those problems internally. And I think he scored a few nice goals, but just, once again, didn't set the world on fire. Well, then it came down to, when he moved to Stoke, he had the chance to move a few different places. Stoke stumped up the money to go and get him. Mm-hmm. Liverpool wanted him, but Liverpool wouldn't pay for him. This was at that time of Liverpool's life when we wouldn't fucking pay for anybody. So he goes to Stoke, and he's getting all kind of grief at Stoke. Oh, he doesn't trap back. He doesn't defend. They don't ask him to. He's not playing. He's not gegenpressing at Stoke because they don't do that.
It's true.
Basically, if you ever watched the Stoke match, there were 9 guys behind the ball, Shaqiri around midfield, and Peter Crouch pushing forward. He was their offensive outlet. Mm-hmm. He was never asked to trap back and press and try to make things happen. So people say, oh, he's lazy. He'll never work for Klopp. You know who I think knows better for Klopp who worked for Klopp?
Klopp?
I would say Klopp knows better. And if Klopp's like, hell yeah, sign his ass up. I'm just... Klopp and Michael Edwards have done such a good job for Liverpool at their recruitment since he's come in. At this point, if Liverpool brings somebody in, I'm sold. I believe. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we're going to have some bust someday with this group. Well, hey, we had Carey, so there we go. Right? Oh, but for Shaqiri was the perfect buy for this summer. Mm-hmm. They got him for £13 million. You don't get Xherdan Shaqiri for £13 million. As they've said, even if we keep him for a season and he doesn't have a very good season, we can sell next year and make a profit on £13 million.
Yeah.
Because somebody will take him and somebody will pay $20-25 million for him. With the way the market is now, mm-hmm. we can almost double the price on him even if he's not great this year. There are a lot of people, oh, we should have kept Harry Wilson and played. That's great. Harry Wilson's never played a Premier League match. Yeah, let's just trust him if Salah or Mane gets hurt.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great idea. He's gone out on loan now to Derby, so he's going to get Harry being starting at Derby, mm-hmm. and next year you hope to bring Harry Wilson back in. Harry Wilson, I think, is more a long-term answer. Where I think Shaqiri could be maybe a 2 or 3 year answer.
Right.
That said, Xherdan Shaqiri has a shit ton of talent, man. If Klopp can unlock it, mm-hmm. Here's kind of the deal. What we're thinking at Liverpool, at worst we've got a capable backup with Premier League experience. At best, we've got a guy who's going to come in and push Mane and Salah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, my God, if you're good enough to push one of those guys and take their job, I would love to see him come in and take Sadio Mane's job. You know why? Because that means he is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a lot of guys come in and take Liverpool players' jobs because that means they're that damn good.
That's true.
So, competition is great for Shaqiri. He gets the chance to play for a big club one more time. He's going to be in the Champions League. And you've just got to figure if Klopp now has that option, he's going to definitely, and obviously if Naby Fekir ends up coming in, there's another option. We were, and I talked about it all last year, we were so incredibly fortunate at Liverpool that Mane, Salah, nor Firmino missed really significant time. Mm-hmm. When they did, it was Mane early in the season, and we had Coutinho to plug right in. Mm-hmm. You cannot gamble every single year that those guys are going to play 40 or 50 matches.
Right.
So you need a Xherdan Shaqiri. You need Naby Fekir to come in. You need those guys to be able to rotate them.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm extremely pleased with the signing. I want to be proven right that 5 years of wanting a player, I just want to be right.
There you go.
So
hopefully
he's going to win the Ballon d'Or.
There you go.
There's the West we know.
Wes Bradshaw going on record. Oh, that's so good. Someone who probably isn't going to win the Ballon d'Or, but who knows, is heading over to Fulham. Jean-Michael Seri is going to Fulham. He was projected to go to a lot of different teams. With Chelsea and Arsenal were both in the running for him. But Wes, he is heading over to Fulham from Nice, and that's a very sought-after player by a lot of Premier League teams, and he's going to Fulham, creating more chances than any other Nice player in the last 2 Ligue 1 seasons, according to Squawka Football on Twitter. So a very good player for a team that's coming up, newly promoted back up to the Premier League. So this could be a fantastic signing. My only concern, as a Tottenham fan, I'm aware of this, is having seen 2 straight years Tottenham go after a young hot thing from Ligue 1, one of these really quick, like, creative players, and they're just not that good when they get here. So that's my one word of caution with this. But by all accounts, looking at it just from how he was in Nice, this looks like a very good and potentially important signing for Fulham.
Well, for Fulham especially, I mean, it really kicks up a talent level for Fulham.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, Jean-Michel Seri, I first came to know him last summer when he was connected with Liverpool, as everyone is.
What?
Yeah, that went for about a week, and that kind of fizzled out. But, I mean, he's been connected, like you said, Chelsea, Arsenal, was actually connected with Barcelona for a while. They were interested in the player. So, I mean, yeah, he's gotten interest from some really big teams. And as we've seen, we saw it some in the Champions League qualifiers last year. The guy can play. Mm-hmm. He's a good player in his mid-20s, so he should be hitting his peak. He's quick. He's good with the ball. He distributes very well. I give it up to Fulham because they're showing that we're not going to be one of the teams that comes to the Premier League and just rests on our and gets our asses relegated.
I agree.
Fulham understands we're back. We need to do something to make sure we stay back.
Sure, yeah,
so
it definitely shows intent.
Yeah, Fulham are definitely working hard in the transfer window. Wolves are as well. I haven't heard much from Cardiff. But Wolves, and Wolves did so much last season, and they've got kind of that Portugal connection. I think Wolves are going to come up and be pretty damn good anyway. But I think it's definitely intent shown by Fulham, and I will give them a clap and give them a hand for it because that's the kind of intent a newly promoted side needs to show, where they can come and take that player.
Let me look real quick, just because you did mention it, about Cardiff. I'm curious now if I can actually pull this up here. Current season transfers. Do they have any business they've done? They brought Josh Murphy over from Norwich. They brought a couple other championship players over, and that's really it.
Yeah. There's a chance Grujic goes back on loan this year, Marko Grujic. But, yeah, I mean, they, Cardiff may be playing a dangerous game because when you get to the Premier League, you've got to do whatever you can to get some guys and stay up. We saw it from the 3 last year.
I forgot to actually mention this when we were talking about Shaqiri. We did have another piece of actual Liverpool news. That is not a coming in, but a rather not really going out, but won't be on the bench too much this year, if at all, and that is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. It has been confirmed that he will miss most of, if not all of this season with the injury he suffered at the very end of last season. And Wes, this was a guy who, after toiling at Arsenal, looked like he had finally found a spot at Liverpool and was contributing very well for them on their run to the Champions League final. And just a devastating injury, and now he looks to be gone for the entire season.
And that's brutal. Brutal for Liverpool because you know what? I mean, that's a good player that we're not going to have available. And you saw, toward the end of the season last year when he got injured, it really put a strain on our midfield. Of course, we had multiple injuries last year in our midfield, and hopefully we've addressed that situation, and hopefully that won't be an issue going forward. But say everyone's 100% healthy. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is making a damn good run to be in that first 11 for Liverpool. I mean, a midfield of Fabinho, Keita, and the Ox. Oh, my freaking dynamic goodness. I mean, that would be phenomenal. Just seeing what we saw from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, especially in the second half of the season last year. Knee injuries are always tricky. Yeah. And especially if let's say he doesn't play this entire year and comes back next August, you're talking, I mean, that's an 18-month layoff nearly. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have to play his way back into shape. So it might be December of next year before he's really ready to go. And then you've got the hope that knee injury hasn't taken anything from him. Mm-hmm. Because they all take something. You just hope it doesn't take maybe the speed or the explosiveness. But, for a guy who, Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think he would have been a really nice piece to add to that England squad this summer. Mm-hmm. I still don't think, he's not Paul Scholes. I think he's a little more of a more explosive Lingard.
Sure.
But, I mean, I would have loved to have had Oxlade-Chamberlain play for England this summer. Mm-hmm. That was taken away. And unfortunately for him, too, with Liverpool continuing to try to improve that midfield, you kind of hope he doesn't get buried too deep on that depth chart when he does come back. Mm-hmm. So it's a shit situation. It's basically a shit situation to be a pro athlete and get a long injury.
Yeah.
Because you can be playing the greatest of your career and you never know if you're going to hit it again. Mm-hmm. So all prayers up for the Ox. We'll definitely be, us Liverpool fans, I mean, we're definitely pulling for him to come back because I think of anyone that we've signed recently that changed opinion of themselves, I think he may be the one. I mean, I was very happy when we here. There were so many people that were furious that we signed him.
Oh, yeah.
And quite wasted all that money on him. Mm-hmm. That by the end of the year, I think they couldn't get their hands on a Oxlade-Chamberlain shirt fast enough, and couldn't kiss his feet anymore. So, I mean, he basically had a dream second half of the season, mm-hmm. and I'd hate for it to go up in flames due to a damn knee injury.
Yeah. So. We'll keep an eye on it and revisit this back probably about April-ish and see how he's progressing, if he's close to coming back.
They're saying there is a chance maybe he could get a competitive match before the year. Mm-hmm. So, maybe in May if we could see him play one or two, that would be. Yeah, we've already been crowned champions.
There you go.
I
can't wait for predictions. So our final story in news and notes tonight. Everything's been going so well for Arsenal, Wes. It's been going really well this offseason. They've been making some good signings. They brought in a new young manager. And now we get this report, just entitled from Rory Marston over at Bleacher Report. Arsenal confirmed fraud investigation over BYD partnership. This is a partnership with a Chinese car maker, BYD. Apparently, a man posing as a representative from BYD approached the club and was like, hey, why don't we do a sponsorship? And Arsenal was like, yeah, sure, why not? That'd be great. Let's do that. They started doing everything, and then it got announced, and BYD's like, Who is this person? What are you doing? Why is Arsenal Football Club saying we have an agreement? So who knows if the deal is still on? The deal was announced in April, and apparently it's only coming out now that this happened. And when it came out, it was represented, quote, a further step forward in the in how we work with our partners to build a greener future. So, Wes, it just can't all be happy for Arsenal. Something like this had to happen this summer, right?
Well, you knew that. The honeymoon of getting rid of Arsene Wenger couldn't last forever. And unfortunately for Arsenal, I mean, it really has nothing to do with the product of the field.
Nope.
But it's just, how many body blows can you keep taking? It just looks dumb. At this point, I mean, if that happened to Real Madrid, somebody but okay. If it happened to at this point to a Manchester City, okay, whatever. A United, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then it happens to Arsenal. It's like,
of course.
Yeah, now, if it happened to Chelsea, that would just be piling on at this point.
Yeah.
But I think Arsenal. I don't think they're too worried about this at all. You know, they're happy that Wenger out.
Yay!
Might not be totally happy with Emery in, but they're happy Wenger out.
Yes.
By the way, just sort out there, Wenger in talks to apparently become the Japan national team manager. Oh, I can't wait. World Cup, you can't come soon enough. Damn it. Damn you, Qatar. You're making me wait another 6 months to see Wenger again?
Oh, by the way, before we head over into the Watch 4 and wrap up the podcast, do you remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the Mexican manager, Sempol?
Yeah.
That's the name, right? No. Shit. What's his name?
Irving was on it. Hold on. Mexico national football team.
Juan Carlos Osorio. That one.
Juan Carlos Osorio.
And we joked. Oh God, we joked a couple weeks ago. Oh, he could go to the United States. He should be up for the USMNT job, because we're also talking about the person who was going to be staying as caretaker for the USMNT through the rest of the year, but could be replaced at literally any moment. And then it came out literally like 2 days later. Hey, what about Juan Carlos Osorio for the USMNT? So obviously people are listening to this podcast and thinking that we're breaking news, which is the case. It's absolutely the case. Keep listening and breaking our news. We really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, it is very much predicted he is on his way out, and the sooner the better. But oh my goodness! And you know, one thing about Juan Carlos Osorio, I think we all assume he's Mexican. He's actually Colombian. Yeah. So you know, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you know, I mean, it's not like, oh, and I'm going to coach America to piss off Mexico. It's like, oh, cool, America, this is a job, sweet.
There you go. No loyalties here, everybody.
I think they could do worse.
So, Louis van Gaal. So that's going to do it for news and notes and soccer talk for the week. Wes, let's hit to the Watch 4.
Oh my gosh, I have so much Watch 4 this week.
Oh, I can't wait. What are you watching, my friend?
I've actually watched stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
Go figure. And I have some stuff coming up, some stuff to kick on. First of all, I saw Ant-Man.
Woo!
As you know. Oh, Ant-Man made me so happy.
It's a good movie.
It was such a good movie. It was fun.
It's a fun movie.
And we won't do the full spoiler on Ant-Man. Infinity War was so important, we just had to go through that. But hey, with Ant-Man, you know what? Infinity War left us feeling like we were walking out carrying a 50-pound weight on our shoulders.
Yeah.
Ant-Man got us back going, Marvel, it can be fun.
Right up until the end.
That little post-credit scene was like, oh my God, you've done to me again. But I really enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. It was witty. You know, those Marvel movies, they've let them kind of expand a little comedically over the years now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think Ragnarok really kind of took that one to the next level. Ragnarok.
It's fantastic.
But I think that was kind of missing. You know, hey, let them have some personality. Let them, and of course, Paul Rudd's like perfect for that.
Oh, of course.
He's witty. He's sarcastic. He's just that guy. He's so great. So I really enjoyed Ant-Man. I am getting ready actually for the next Mission Impossible movie.
Oh, are you?
That's coming out later this month.
Are you suiting up for it?
I am. Yeah, I've got something that might blow up in 5.
Oh, great.
I've actually gone back. I realized I'd only watched the first 2. Which are really good. I mean, I always liked the Mission Impossible movies. There was nothing against them. I just didn't keep watching.
I thought 1 and 3 were really good. I thought 2 was kind of...
2 was extreme. Now that I go back and watch it, it was so John Woo. It's not funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the one John Woo did. They're doves for whatever reason. And everything's like super slow-mo in it.
Yeah.
That said, it's still a pretty fresh movie. But yeah, the second one and the third were really good. I actually got around to watching Ghost Protocol last night. Mm-hmm. Interesting. And next, I still have Rogue Nation to watch. Or Rogue Nation, right?
Probably.
Rogue something. Something goes rogue. And then it comes out at the end of July. The new one, I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
Fallout?
This is Mission Impossible. Huh?
Fallout?
Maybe.
I think I saw the trailer for it and
Either way, I mean, I'm kind of stoked for it. I've kind of enjoyed getting to catch up. Tom Cruise, for as fucking weird as he is as a human being,
It's true.
when that dude wants to turn it on a movie, he can be really good. Yeah, I think that's being a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
That's your problem, Tobias. You can't turn it off. You blew yourself. And on the TV front, I am looking forward to September the 4th when Mayans will appear or will debut on FX. Mayans is an offshoot of probably my favorite show that I ever sat through and watched while it was going on, Sons of Anarchy. And of course, we went through the last full season of Sons of Anarchy here.
We did.
We did, and you remember the roller coaster of emotions I went through. And now they're doing one a spinoff. The Mayans were a rival gang of the Sons.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
They were like the Mexican biker gang.
That makes sense.
But obviously, you've got to feel that this stuff's all going to intertwine because it's same universe.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they were very heavily involved in 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy cinematic universe.
Well, now I would say this. Kurt Sutter has said that he sees this whole Sons of Anarchy thing as in 4 different chapters. And the ones people are kind of predicting are, okay, we've had Sons of Anarchy. Next, we'll do Mayans. Next, they'll do an actual prequel to the Sons of Anarchy that shows how it started and how it came up. Mm-hmm. And then the last one will be the Sons of Jackson Teller in 20 or 30 years. Mm.
So it's just going to be Blade Runner on bikes? Because I might watch
I don't see him going that route.
Oh, that'd be pretty dope.
I will put it this way. If there is a 20-year future for Sons of Anarchy, I don't see anything maybe than the cell phones changing.
Oh, man.
I believe you're still going to see leather and Harleys.
Oh, that'd be so cool, though.
Yeah, but I just don't think you're going to get
bikes, though. Blade Runner on bikes.
I agree, but I don't think you're getting that for this.
Okay, fine.
But anyway, that's what I'm kind of looking forward to coming up in September. I'm ready for new TV shows to kick off. I really am. Oh, and one more to throw in. TLC now has Dr. Pimple Popper.
What the fuck is that?
For those of us who, those of you people out there who love to get on YouTube and watch people pop zits and cysts.
Who the? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who likes that shit. Anyway, Dr. Sandra Lee, who has had kind of her own channel, she's a dermatologist in California. She's really, really cute, by the way, just to throw that on top of it. But now she has her own show where basically people come and she helps them out and kind of fixes them and shit like that.
She just like removes cysts and stuff?
Yeah, but it's more than just, I have a cyst on my nose. Obviously they have to find more shit to like make it happen. Like the very first episode had like a Quasimodo Chicana. Oh. And she took out something like 10 pounds of like fat glob out of it.
Oh, God.
It was weird, but it was cool. That's right, folks. It's the shit I enjoy.
Oh.
The shit people enjoy.
Yeah, definitely not a show you're watching. And has every episode on DVR waiting for you.
Jesus, as they come out.
Oh, that's the woolly hole I love. Let me see. What am I watching? What did I do? Oh, I do want to talk about. I haven't watched it yet. Two things. One, I haven't watched it yet. We had talked about Joel Mchale coming back to Netflix and doing like a bunch of shows. Well, he's back. Except this time, instead of doing weekly, he just dropped like 6 episodes, like all at once, which is very odd. So I don't know how it's gonna be versus like doing his weekly show. But I'm excited to check it out because we love Joel Mchale. So it's gonna be. I imagine it'll still be really good.
Joel Mchale.
Oh, I miss Joel Mchale. And then the other show I want to talk about, which is probably, I haven't seen an actual cancellation for it, but it's probably going to get canceled at the end of its first season. And it's finally wrapping up this Sunday. Is a show I believe I may have touched on a long time ago called Ghosted. And it features Adam Scott, formerly of Parks and Recreation. And then Craig T. Robinson, formerly of The Office. And also, what's his name on Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Joe Latuglia?
No. No, Andy Samberg's character is Nemesis.
Oh, the Vulture.
No, not the Vulture.
No.
No.
That's Craig Robinson.
Yeah, Craig Robinson's the character.
That's Doug Judy.
Doug Judy. There it is. Doug Judy. Yes, from that as well. So they are a couple of, they get recruited into this paranormal like underground government agency, and they hunt down ghosts and other worldly shit, and so the first 8 episodes of the season were like that, and it's like, hey, story of the week, you know, what's this weird thing that they got to go figure out and solve, and what's this weird thing. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of funny, and it's, you know, it's fine, whatever. And then they took like this long break after about season 8 or episode 8 or 9, and they came back, and it looks like they had reshot a bunch of stuff, and it went from this like, hey, what's this weird thing we're doing, and we're going to be kind of funny about it, to weirdly meta about how nobody really took us seriously as a show. So now in the show, we're bringing in this character to be the new director of the agency, who also thinks we're a joke and doesn't even believe we should exist. And it's now actually more like The Office or Parks and Recreation, with like a bunch of weird like secondary characters as well. And it's oddly now a better show. And it feels so meta. Because almost every episode now, like the one I just watched today and caught up on, was they go to investigate this airplane, which may have traveled through time. And the FAA is there, the FBI is there, and they treat them like shit, and they treat them like a joke. And then Adam Scott's character, who's supposed to be this brainy scientist guy, stands up at the end and is like, hey, this is my theory, this is why, because the black box says this, and the airport, and a bunch of other stuff. And the head FBI guy's like, you know what? That's a really, really strong theory. I just have one question. Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters! And then just totally starts making fun of them. And it's like, everybody thinks they're a joke. And it's just this weird thing. I'm like, I don't know how much of it is actually supposed to be meta about people maybe thinking the show itself was a joke. But I really like it, and I want it to continue like this. So I hope there's a second season just like the back half of season 1, if that's how they're going to stick with it. Because I've really enjoyed the back half of season 1 with how just almost not giving a shit everybody is. It's great. It's fantastic. And more Adam Scott and Craig T. Robinson is never a bad thing. So I don't
think there's a T in his name. I think Craig T. was...
oh, God, it's Craig T. Nelson. Oh,
yeah, God. That's Craig T. Nelson. Yeah, you're thinking of good old Craig Robinson.
Craig T. Robinson. I mixed it up.
I was kind of thinking about that. I was like, wait a minute. We're not talking about Coach here.
Oh, is it just Craig? Oh, yeah, it's just Craig Robinson.
It's just Craig.
Craig.
It's just Craig.
So that's
Craig.
That's my watch for the week. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Like Wes said at the beginning, a So Raw will be coming hot and heavy next week, so please make sure you have your Vaseline ready for all the latest in the WWE. We're going to try to get Roman over. We're going to do it, guys. I swear to God, we're going to do it one of these days. But until that point, one more time, we'd like to thank NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop, even if this podcast is about to. You can check them out on Twitter. We are also on Twitter as a collective. We are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can also email us at that address, allnewsportsshow@gmail.com. Thank all our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So once again, we'll be back next week. We'll finish wrapping up the 2017-18 Premier League season, I believe, over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to say, I need to pull up a calendar here really quick and look at our episodes.
I'm good the next 2 weeks, yeah.
All right, so let's see.
Because this is week 1 of 3 straight that I'm good.
Okay, so 25th, the 1st, and then the 8th. So yeah, we'll have 2 weeks to wrap up the last year's Premier League, and then we'll have the 8th to preview the upcoming season.
There you
Awesome. There's our schedule.
go. Look at us.
So that's going to do it for this episode, though, of the podcast. But before we get out of here, Wes, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, there is. I've got a bone to pick.
Oh, boy.
Got a bone to pick with you, International Champions Cup, whatever. I can't remember what the hell your tournament's called. I don't care anymore. You know why?
It doesn't matter.
Because for 3 consecutive years, first the All New Sports Show and then the Foreign Affair podcast have made our way to Charlotte at our own expense
That's true, actually.
to help bring the world's game to our people. So this year, of course, hey, we're right back in. Hey, we Charlotte, we love you. We love going to Bank of America Stadium and not having to see the fucking Panthers.
Yeah, we didn't get to go last year because Charlotte was not picked as a destination.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so it was back this year. We're pumped. Everything's great. Man, lo and behold, here comes my squad. Here comes Liverpool. Jurgen, the boys, Naby, Fabinho, Virgil. What do we do, Ed? As soon as, hey, we're checking up early. We're getting our ducks in a row. We're sending in our requests. Hey, we're good, right? We're fine. We're legacies here. And then we receive an email telling us that, sorry, but we got too many requests. Well, I'd like to know what requests were in before ours. Yeah. Because, as I said, we were checking up with y'all. Hey, when can we send in requests? What we got to do? And when it came out, we were there. We not good enough? Am I funny? Am I a clown to you? You know what? International, whatever the hell your tournament's called that I don't care about anymore, or the Liverpool, you're dead to me. Unless you come back next year, I want my damn press pass back. But anyway, I've been very upset about that because, yeah, I mean, tickets were gone. I could get a ticket now, but that's a whole hell of a lot more money than I was looking to spend to go to this. Now we don't have our hotel and all that good stuff that we like to get. We like to take our Uber. We like to help the Uber drivers.
Yeah.
I mean, all this, we were coming in and putting money in the economy, and we were turned down. So, screw you, whoever did that crap. I'm sure you're fucking Panther fans.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Sure you work for the Panthers. That's probably our damn issue.
I was very surprised because I don't believe space was ever an issue in Charlotte.
Never been an issue.
I could have imagined maybe like if it was LA or New York or something. Charlotte, a little surprised.
I mean, every year, we've always, we had always gone down. Yeah, shoot, we always shot some stuff. We would always go down to an empty box, shoot what we were going to shoot, and then go, find us a seat, stay out of people's way. Make the Brits laugh every now and then with my snarky comments. Have a burger, which I couldn't have this year anyway, but whatever. But very disappointed in you this year, guys.
Yeah,
you have lost a fan of your organization. Till next year.
To be fair, I wasn't really ever a fan of their organization. It's just something I'm like,
True that.
If you're going to put soccer in my state, might as well go check it out.
True that.
So,
you can't blame Sepp Blatter for this one.
Nope.
But my God, it'd be fun if we could.
That's who put out the hit on us. That's who did it.
I bet Sepp would have gotten us in. He would have said, "Come, boys, I will show you the real me."
That's okay, Mr. President.
I don't want to go into that sauna with you, Mr. Blatter.
So on that incredibly gross image, that is going to do it for episode 219 of the Foreign Affair podcast. Please check us out next week when we go through some of our Premier League in review from 2017-18. Until then, though, from Mchale and Crime, West Bradshaw, I am Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here on this week's edition of the podcast. And as always, be safe, and I don't know what there is out there, but enjoy the football.
And you sleep well tonight, Allison Becker. And you get ready to sign that contract tomorrow, brother. 3 a.m. Thursday morning. I want that beat.
We only have like about 2 hours and 56 minutes.
Oh, should I just stay up and wait for it?
Yeah, that's what we should do. Yeah.
I have to work a 12-hour shift tomorrow. Let me just stay up all night waiting to find out that.
Great idea.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.